All right, guys. Realize that not everybody has a you know bigger commercial duty type compressor. A lot of guys have these smaller compressors in their garages, and need to do a little bit of paint work for say, and need to choose a spray gun. So I got some good guns on the table here. We're going to look at those in a minute, but we really need to look at the specifications on this air compressor first, and also relate to some specifications on my bigger compressors so you guys don't get confused. So this is 5 horse, 20 gallon oilless compressor, and there's some important information here on the back on its sticker. And here you can see it says 5 standard cubic feet a minute at 90 psi, and above that it says 7.5 standard cubic feet a minute at 40 psi. So that second, this line here, the 7.5 at 40, that's kind of important. That's a nice amount of air for a small compressor. Now, somebody may have noticed, like this one here is 5 at 90, and here we've gained 50% of CFM and have dropped our air pressure considerably. There's no relationship, there's no equation. PSI is PSI, CFM CFM. There's no relationship between those two numbers. They're completely different measurements from one scale to another. Obviously, PSI is pressure and the CFM is volume, and that all relates to what the compressor itself here can put out while it's running. So if we slip over to the big compressor, this will make a little more sense. Okay, so my bigger compressor here, we've got 10.2 at 90 and 12.2 at 40. So we don't have that 50% gain jumping from 90 psi down to 40. So it is all in what the manufacturer has built into the actual compressor itself. This is going to deliver, this particular unit is going to deliver quite a bit of CFM over pressure. All right, so let's have a look at the spray guns that I have here on the little work table. Let's start with the Lematic HVLP spray gun. Not sure if this is a true HVLP gun or not. I've sprayed with it several times some time ago. It does operate very nicely at a low pressure, but an HVLP gun nonetheless typically requires at least 13 cubic feet a minute of air, volume of air, to get the job done. So this is not suitable for that air compressor. Now we have a minigun. This is an inexpensive minigun, available from just about anywhere online, Harbor Freight, Princess Auto. Runs at about 10 to 15 psi, uses about 2 cubic feet a minute of air. Perfect little gun for that little air compressor. Now, what would you do with a little gun like this for say? It's nice for getting into those tight areas when you're painting those rims, or maybe clear coating some headlamps. In general, small gun, small job. Excellent little gun for that compressor. Now, what else do we have? We have the good old Campbell Hosfeld DH6500. Painted a lot of cars back between 1989 and 92, and everybody seemed to want that single stage full paint job. Was running a little shop in my dad's garage. Painted a lot of cars with this. Spec on this, I believe, is like 7 cubic feet a minute of air at like 40 psi. Only problem with this gun is it will run off that compressor, but the transfer efficiency, because this gun was built like back in the freaking 80s, uh, transfer efficiency is probably about 50%. So I'm going to put it at the back as well because of its transfer efficiency. Now, who else do we have? We have the good old Spray It SP 33,000. Now, this is the perfect gun, or a gun like this is the perfect gun that matches up to this type of a compressor. We've got 4 cubic feet a minute at 30 psi. It's a perfect match. I've used this gun to paint an entire pickup truck with this air compressor in another guy's garage a few years back. It can be done for sure with this type of a setup. So perfect gun to match that compressor. Now we have the FLG5. Now typical pressure or CFM on this is, I believe, almost 10. It's like 9.8, I believe, at 30 psi. It exceeds the abilities of this compressor, according to the badge on it or the sticker. But I believe you could do something smaller with this gun. Even set the way that I would normally set it on my big compressor, which is full fan, 2.5 to 3 open material, and 30 psi. I think you could do something small, like maybe a door or a fender with this gun and that air compressor. So those are a few guns to choose from or to not choose from. Everybody can make their own choices for sure. But I'm gonna bring in Big Jim's door, get him all prepped up. I'm gonna spray some base with this gun, and then I'm gonna see how well I can get this gun to clear out that base using the small compressor. Okay guys, all set up, ready to go. Big temperature change from last night to this morning. I sanded this last night with 400. It was about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Now today, it's coming up to like 9:30 in the morning. It's barely 60 degrees. Still running a medium reducer. We're just in that window. Gun is full fluid, full fan, and at about 23 psi. Alright, so not too bad. Kind of transparent first coat. It is white over that that purpley color. Now I put a little sticky of tape here. That's about where the air compressor kicked on. And then from there on up, obviously, so that's about 50% of the door, because these upper window arches obviously didn't take a whole bunch. Now, I mark that so that when I do the clear run, I know about where the air compressor kicked on. So will know that if that other gun, that DeValvis gun, is going to consume a ton more air, or what the situation is. Now, I like to point out I did shut the camera off after I was done spraying this coat. The compressor itself, it ran for probably less than a minute, and then shut back off. So it was right behind me the whole time once it kicked on. So that's not bad, but it's also not good. You really don't want your air compressor to run the whole time that you're trying to spray. But on the good side, I didn't have to adjust the gun whatsoever. Alright guys, I got the best coverage that I could. I was using up some old paint and hey, ran out. But yeah, I was paying more attention to when the air compressor shut off on that second coat, and it was pretty much exactly 30 seconds from the time I quit spraying, unplugged the gun, until it shut off. But pretty much, like I said, dead on 30 seconds, so that's pretty good. FLG5, like I said, I was going to run 2.5 to 3 open, so yeah, I'm around 2 3/4 open, full fan, 30 PSI. Compressor just shut off, so it has a full charge. Let's do it. Okay, marked the location here of about where the air compressor came on. So I'm gonna go ahead with the second coat now. It's been a little bit. Okay guys, got the gun cleaned up, so it's only been curing for about a half hour. And let this cure for a couple hours and open the big door, and then kind of do a recap of how I felt things went. Okay guys, I'm going to do a quick recap here. It's hardened up somewhat. It's dust free, like the bugs won't stick to the clear anymore. It is a bit peely. There are, I believe, like 13 layers of material on top of the original factory finish. Nonetheless, the spray it gun got from the bottom of the door to this first tape line before the air compressor came on. I continued to spray up to the top, and when I was done the second coat, I checked the clock when I unplugged from the airline, and it took 30 seconds for the air compressor to catch up and shut off. So that's not too bad. The compressor was able to supply the gun with the air it needed. I felt there was no difference in the way it sprayed from the first coat through the second coat. Now the clear,
I use the FLG-5. It's a much bigger gun. Also has a much bigger fan on it, and the clear is obviously quite a bit thinner than base coat. So I was able to get from the bottom to here before the air compressor kicked on both the first and second coat. Now I did run out of clear up there, and at that moment I did the disconnect, and I watched the clock after I shut the camera off, and it was 50 seconds to get to a full charge again, and as such I did notice a slight difference that I was losing the air that I needed after I got past the tape line here where the compressor came on. So if I was attempting to spray any more than, say, the size of this GMC full-size pickup door, I believe I would have lost the battle in short order. So overall, yeah, it got the job done for sure. The little spray it gun, no issue whatsoever. Probably, if I'd have cleared with it, I wouldn't have had any issues at all. But the DeValvis FLG-5 did get the job done as well. So I kind of hope this video helps some of the DIY guys out choosing a spray gun that matches their small compressor. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.